Hey everyone, it's Will, and since my PC was down for the last couple of weeks, I wasn't able to get any videos out about the update itself, and since everything has already been covered into oblivion, I figured I'd make a video about cheating in War Thunder and what Gaijin might be doing to stop it. I swear I remember a long time ago when some people were adamant that cheating in War Thunder wasn't possible for some reason or another, which we can all have a good laugh at now. As we all see when we open the game, easy anti-cheat has been used for years by Gaijin without much effect, and I'll be getting into that a bit more in just a minute. While the majority of the player base doesn't use cheats whatsoever, there are still enough players doing it that it's a constant issue. We can see that with the ban waves there are hundreds or even thousands of players banned at once, showing that this is an ongoing issue even with an anti-cheat like EAC. Also, a quick side note, my next video will be quite a long one covering a lot of information on two pretty iconic planes that haven't been added to the game yet, but I think you'll all enjoy it a lot. Before I get into everything, I do have a little disclaimer here. I not only do not condone cheating, but I am heavily against it in every way. Please do not use cheats of any kind, as you not only ruin the experience for other players, but you also ruin your own too. I understand that War Thunder can get very frustrating, but you will not get any better at the game with cheats, and you will almost certainly lose your account permanently. Over the years, there's been tons of different cheat programs for War Thunder. Funnily enough, it seems that there were less cheaters before Easy Anti-Cheat was added in late 2019, almost a whole 5 years ago. Again, while it is amusing that the amount of cheaters rose after the addition of EAC, it was mostly due to the massive spike in players in 2020 with COVID, and many of these new players stuck around for the ever-exhausting long haul. With these new players came more cheats, as people who previously didn't have an incentive to make cheats for the game now had their eyes glistening with that sweet green. More cheats started popping up, and alongside them, cheating rings around the individual cheating programs. For the most part, it seemed that there was around one major cheat software at the time, mostly being ESPs, more widely known as wall hacks, as well as aimbot, among other things. Usually the cheats will also come with other unique features to themselves, and some of which I'll get into in a bit. There has also been other cheats on smaller scales, like when someone wrote a script that would automatically control the AA Nord, allowing them to hit shots on enemy planes that you wouldn't even think was possible. A cheat like this was typically used by only one or a small group of people, and I think in this case it was just one player who promptly got banned. As some of you probably know, there was a massive cheating ring around one specific software that got exposed last year. It seemed that the larger majority of the specific ring was in China, and in this case, a Chinese player managed to infiltrate the group running the whole thing. He even managed to get the source code for the cheats and passed it along to Gaijin, who was able to ban everyone with it installed. And at the time, many people were claiming that 40,000 players had gotten banned, but Gaijin's actual numbers were around 6,000, I believe. Which, don't get me wrong, that's still an absurd amount when there's between 80 to 200,000 online depending on the time. While there is typically one somewhat large cheating ring at a time, there's also less popular cheats running throughout the player base constantly. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if a good 1 to 2% of overall players were actually hacking at any one time. And due to the fact that they're basically all banned manually by game masters who catch them, makes it even harder to keep it under control, since Easy Anti-Cheat is worse at catching cheats than the refs are at not making it blatantly obvious that they're on their knees for Patrick Mahomes. Some of you may know about a new cheat going around, especially since they have a new tactic. This being that they are literally posting videos on somewhere around 20 different accounts across YouTube and TikTok to promote this cheat. They're also streaming it on TikTok, which is just even more insane. They do try their best to edit out the username in each video, but there are a few where you're able to catch a glimpse of the account name, where I checked and all the ones I could find were already banned. It also seems that most of these accounts were stolen or bought from what I and others have been able to tell. Though the funniest part of them trying to promote it this way is them proving how even with cheats, people who suck at the game will still suck. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like this cheat gets aimbot, at least not yet, so these literal clowns can't just have their sight snap onto an enemy from across the map, or just sit there while they're playing into circles to lead on the enemy. I even saw one game where the guy streaming it, who I believe made this cheat, died 3 times and got 0 kills. And by the way, during that game, this man managed to play the Tiger 2 and couldn't even get a single kill even while using an ESP. Not even mentioning the fact that this cheat allows you to just turn off trees, gives you an x-ray of the enemy tank, and also gives you the arcade aiming indicator so you know where to shoot. He's not alone either. Yeah, plenty of cheaters are able to pull off some pretty wild cross-map kills since they can see through trees and have all that fancy shit, But there are a lot who are so obviously cheating, but they still suck. At that point, just uninstall and rethink your life. Because if you suck that bad even with cheats that should essentially just hand you the top spot on the team every single game, then I don't know what to tell you other than to reevaluate your life. Go get out of your mom's basement and go get a job to pay her back for the cheats you charge on her credit card. Also, speaking of costs, I was able to obtain a pricing list through their Discord. And while you look at that here, I'll mention there seem to be a fair amount of people who are in there who are probably paying for it, so while their brains are small, their bank accounts are probably pretty fat. But this, of course, is leading up to the main point of this video, a world where there are little to no cheaters in War Thunder. But before we get to that, the issue is that these people will always come back and make more cheats or just slightly tweak it so that it gets around any potential ban. The same goes for cheaters who get banned. Many of them will come back, especially since a lot of them use stolen or bot accounts as well. So now we get to the real issue, which I already mentioned earlier. For the last 5 years, Easy Anti-Cheat hasn't seemed to do much to catch any actual cheaters, so the game mods have had to manually do it. But when you have an anti-cheat work properly, then anyone using cheats shouldn't even be able to get into War Thunder in the first place. So a few months ago, code for BattleEye was added to the game, which got some people thinking that War Thunder might be switching anti-cheat soon. Now we have even further reason to believe this, since Enlisted just switched over to BattleEye 2 weeks ago. So while I may have some pretty schizo theories about what Gaijin has been cooking up, this one seems to be pretty grounded. But now we get to the potentially good part. I don't have a whole lot of experience with BattleEye itself, but from what I have found and been told by others, it isn't exactly perfect, but it is significantly better than Easy Anti-Cheat, not that that's hard to do. So BattleEye should be significantly better at catching on-device cheats, which just means that any cheat that is running on the same PC as War Thunder should get caught, hopefully. Now you may be asking about cheats that run on a separate device, which would be a concern if these cheaters actually graduated middle school, but fortunately for us, they're not too bright. From what I know, just about all, if not every cheat for War Thunder is just a program that you run on your PC being an on-device cheat. Now, don't get me wrong, there will still be cheaters, but if Gaijin does this right with BattleEye, there should be way less since it should be catching most of them. There is also the possibility that some people will try to use off-device cheats, but you also have to remember there needs to be a market for these cheats. So if people aren't willing to put in the effort into using them, people won't make them. My only concern is that most of War Thunder's cheats are pretty obscure in the big scheme of things, so it may still be hard for BattleEye to keep up with them at a quick enough pace. Either way, even if BattleEye doesn't do as good as I'm hoping and doesn't catch all the cheaters, it really can't be any worse than the trash we have now, and I'm hoping and expecting it to be a fair bit better. But what I really want to know is why Gaijin just doesn't make their own anti-cheat at this point, especially when they have cheaters running rampant so much that it's taking up a ton of their time to manually deal with. I mean, Gaijin was able to develop their own game engine, so I really don't see why they couldn't have developed their own anti-cheat over the past 5 years. But then again, maybe it's better that they didn't, because it would probably be half-assed to the point where it's somehow worse than EAC. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think BattleEye will turn things around, or will nothing change? I'm hopeful, but I also don't have a ton of confidence either way. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and watch out for my next video as well.